fellow Patriots, I'd like to give you now retired Marine Colonel Frank Ryan.
You know, I have a little bit of concern. I heard Ray when he first got up and he said, "Can you hear me now?" I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me now? Yeah! Are we ready to stand with one voice, and instead of meeting in the Sovereign Center in 2 years, let's meet in the White House in 4 and If you take a look at the Declaration of Independence, there were slightly fewer than 60 Americans who signed a document that was their death warrant. And when they signed that document, they said that they not only had the responsibility, but they had the obligation to make those changes to their government. And it's just as the King of England wasn't listening, many of the elected officials that we have in this country have stopped listening as well. It's your seat, temporarily occupied by the people you've chosen. But as you look at the seriousness with what you're dealing with, I want to have with great pleasure today to announce that the National Bank of Zimbabwe sent me to give to President Obama a $100 trillion note to help pay for our deficit so our children and grandchildren don't. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as someone who specializes in keeping companies out of bankruptcy, that's where we're headed.
You got that right. Absolutely.
This is one of the few times, and I would have to be honest with you, as you look at all these different issues, there's a couple of principles that I would encourage you to look at. First of all, we are a capitalist nation, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. This is an opportunity for each person to have the right of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's what people died for. When anybody says these rules of the free market is this: governments can never react as quickly as a free market can. Governments don't create jobs, you do.
That's right.
You're going to have to ask the government that's supposed to work for you if you can keep the property that you've worked so hard for. We need to cut spending now. I can tell you that free markets will always win. There's a third principle that I hope you agree with me on. And after all my years of working as a certified public accountant, I can tell you this: you cannot tax your way to prosperity. Amen. There's another comment. There's only a few more principles that I want you to think about. One of these is that governments always overreact and underperform. The TARP.
Yeah.
I mean, the stimulus bill.
Yep. Yep.
I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if I ever get elected to office, I promise you to fix the problems I've created. What? Why can't we ask some of these guys to put that kind of a bumper sticker on their car? We'll screw it up and then I want you to re-elect me, so we'll fix it for you. It's past actions on the part of elected leaders who believe that you work for them instead of them for you is a guarantee that that's what they believe, that's what they're going to do, and that's what they're going to make you live under unless we stop it.
That's right.
A principle that I would also ask you, because I know in South Central Pennsylvania, particularly in Berks County and other counties surrounding it, it's really a big deal. You believe in personal responsibility. You know, I tell people in my entire life, whenever something's gone wrong, I've usually had a hand in it. But if you remove personal responsibility from the equation, when you allow people to all of a sudden say it's everybody else's fault, society will never survive. We have to have a firm belief in God. And I will tell you this. I will tell you this from the absolute bottom of my heart. President Obama is right. I have a responsibility to be my brother's keeper, but there's a difference. I want my religion to tell me that, not my government.
That's right.
When you take a look at the rail workers, the railroads in Pennsylvania, the steel workers in the steel industry, and the coal miners. This nation was forged on the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears of Pennsylvanians.
Yes, it was.
We have a responsibility to uphold that legacy, to not be afraid to put our name on those documents that say that you cannot tread on us. Because I have to remind each and every one of you that this nation, this great experiment that has been paid for by the blood of thousands of American service members in the recent memory and the millions over our decades. And I've got to ask you a big favor. Do you see the flag there?
Yes.
It's a pretty big flag. And I think with each and every one of us, and you're going to know the words as I start to say them, so I'd like you to join in with me. We need to take that flag and let every elected official and the entire world know that we're going to take that flag, we're going to plant it in the highest mountaintop in Pennsylvania, and as we unfurl that flag and it flaps in the breeze, we are going to sing out with one voice that we are one nation under God.